Good evening and welcome back to the Courier Journal's continuing coverage of Election Night 2020. I'm Kirby Adams along with Joe Girth here in the Courier Journal building in downtown Louisville. And we're joined in this cut-in by Debbie Yetter and Darcy Costello. Joe, let's start right off the bat talking with you, though, about the fact that AP has just called the U.S. Senate race for Senator Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, it's not much of a surprise, really. We were all expecting McConnell to win. None of the polling that we have seen had shown McGrath within spitting distance of him. He's right now with about 58% of the vote cast. He's got about a 15 percentage point lead. What we don't know is if he's going to remain as majority leader still. Looking around the country at the races out there, none of the key races where folks were thinking that the Democrats had a chance to pick up have been called at this point. We're still seeing pretty early returns in most of those states. So, you know, while he has won for the night, his night is not over.
All right, so let's go from the U.S. Senate race to the Kentucky State Senate. Debbie Yetter, what are you seeing?
Changes there. In fact, it looks like Republicans who control the chamber could be on their way to picking up a seat or two. The Republican Johnny Ray Turner is currently ahead of the incumbent Democrat Johnny Ray Turner in Eastern Kentucky.
Johnny L. Turner is the Republican.
Johnny Ray Turner versus Johnny L. Turner. Yeah, and the Republican currently is ahead with incomplete results in. Meanwhile, Chris McDaniel, who's the influential chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, a Northern Kentucky Republican, appears to be well ahead of his Democratic challenger, so no change there. Looks like McDaniel will probably easily win that. I think about 79% of the votes in on that. The only one that's kind of curious right now is the Frankfort area, sort of bluegrass seat, which was held by Julian Carroll for many years, a Democrat. Joe Gravis, a Democrat who currently is in the House of Representatives, is being challenged by Adrienne Southworth, who was a Republican on the staff of Janine Hampton, and she currently has a slight edge in that race. But again, we've got about 30% of returns still to come in, including apparently some from Joe Gravis' home territory. So that remains to be seen.
All right, so that's a look at what's happening with the Kentucky State Senate. And now on to Metro Council races. Darcy Costello, what are you hearing at this point? Anything coming in yet?
There are some very early numbers posted on the Jefferson County Clerk's website, but he's told us that it'll be a couple hours before full results are in. There are 5 contested races that we're keeping an eye on for council seats. All of the even number districts, there are 13 of them, are on the ballot, but 8 of those are uncontested. So these 5 are the ones to really be watching for something interesting to happen. All of them are an incumbent versus a challenger. Those incumbents include the current council president, David James, Councilwoman Barbara Shanklin, who's been on the Metro Council since its creation, Councilwoman Fowler, who represents the Valley Station Pleasure Ridge Park area. She's a Democrat. And then 2 Republicans, Scott Reed and Marilyn Parker, are facing Democratic challengers. So it's still too early, and we don't have a good sense of like even what percent the current totals are showing, like how many votes we're waiting for, unfortunately. But from the very early results, it looks like incumbents are holding on, like at least for now.
Yeah, David James has a very large lead in his district. It looks like some of them are a little bit closer, but yeah, nothing looking like incumbents are in trouble.
So it sounds like we have a bit of a waiting game going on still for a while here, which that's one of the things that we have to keep in mind about this entire election process this year, is that patience is going to be needed as these early votes are being counted in a different way or have to catch up, I guess we could say. So, Joe, anything else you want to weigh in about the presidential race at this point, or anything else happening across the state of Kentucky?
I think we've covered the Senate races pretty well. So let's move on to the presidential race. Right now, the New York Times is calling states of West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Arkansas, and Oklahoma for Trump. Biden has picked up Illinois, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Vermont. The one race that is really interesting out there is the Florida race. Right now, with about 91% of the votes counted, Trump has a 1.9% lead. We don't know where the outlying vote are at this point, so hang on. It's gonna be a fun night.
All right, hang on. All right, thanks so much, Debbie and Darcy, for joining us for this cut in right now. Hopefully, you'll get some more numbers in a little while. We appreciate your time, and be sure to check back in here with Joe and I in about another hour when we will have another cut in here on Facebook Live and at courierjournal.com. We'll have fresh information for you at 9:30. See you then.